2025 is off to a bang. We've got some new Pokemon Go updates coming soon. Get ready for these. Starting off with Fashion Week, which actually has a pretty crazy part 2, which we'll obviously go over. But first, the regular Fashion Week is happening Friday, January 10th at 10 o'clock a.m. to Sunday, January 19th at 8 o'clock p.m. local time. There's gonna be some pretty good bonuses during the event, including 2 times Catch Stardust, which is fantastic. Also 2 times the chance of getting XL candies when catching Pokemon, which is massive. And you have a higher chance of getting shiny Curlia in the wild with a costume on it. During this last New Year's Eve event, I actually caught, check this out. I didn't make a video on this, but I actually, well, check this out. So check this out as well. I got shiny Sprigatito today during Community Day, so I did play and get 2 of those. I was at the Rams game, because I like football now. A lot of life updates. And then also during the New Year's Eve event, I got the shiny Jigglypuff with the bow. I got 2 of the shiny Hoot Hoot with the hat, and I got 2 of the shiny Wurmple with the hat, which is fantastic. So I was able to get those amazing costume shinies, and now there's more costume shinies to get. Curlia in the wild with a higher shiny rate during this event. Also, there's higher shiny rates on the following Pokemon from field research and raids: Costume Butterfree, Costume Dragonite, Costume Minccino, and Furfrou. And Furfrou, by the way, is one of the hardest shiny families to complete in the entirety of Pokemon Go, which is because I think there's, what, 9? Somewhere between like 8 to 10 different forms of Furfrou, and a lot of them are regional. So get as many shiny Furfrou as you can so that you can maybe trade them for the regional ones so that you can complete that. It's very hard. And then also for the first time, we're gonna have Minccino and Cinccino with costumes. This is the Fashion Week event, so obviously a lot of costume Pokemon. Wild encounters for this event include Diglett in a costume, Skitty, Baniri, costume Blitzel, Furfrou, Bruxish, and Curlia. Then the raids, obviously all costume raids. 1-star will be Shinx, costume Minccino, Furfrou. 3-star raids will be costume Butterfree and costume Dragonite. So although those do have higher shiny rates, you're kind of probably gonna have to raid for them. Although there might be some field research tasks that give you encounters with these Pokemon. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already, because I'll let you know when the event comes out. And then there's a $5 paid timed research that gives you 3,500 XP, 3,500 Stardust, an avatar pose, which I'm looking at right now, which is kind of weird. And then you get encounters with event-themed costume Pokemon, including Dragonite and Minccino. So it might be worth it for that, but $5 for some encounters, some XP Stardust, and a pose, don't buy that. That's a bad deal, unless you want the extra encounters. And then there's some new avatar items with the plaid top and the plaid pants. What's going on with these avatars, man? And that's not all, because for the first time ever, and this is really interesting that they're choosing Fashion Week to do this during, for the first time ever, we have a Team Go Rocket takeover event happening during Fashion Week. The Fashion Week Taken Over event is going down from January 15th at 12 a.m. to Sunday, January 19th at 8 o'clock p.m. local time. So we'll have a good 4 days of this. 5 days. And honestly, we're gonna get kind of a lot of cool stuff. For starters, Shroodle and Grafaiai are coming to Pokemon Go for the first time ever, which I think is really cool. Now, granted, here's the rough part. These are 12-kilometer egg exclusive Pokemon, but it kind of makes sense. This is a Team Go Rocket event, and 12-kilometer eggs are like the Team Go Rocket egg, so it makes a lot of sense that like you get these in 12Ks. But we have a brand new 12-kilometer Pokemon. What is it? Shroodle and Grafaiai, which eventually one day will become a very rare shiny family. But for now, we just get the normal one, but still very cool. I like spooky themed stuff. We're watching Arcane Season 2 right now, and it's definitely, I guess spooky is one word for it. Depressing is probably the better one. But I like these 2 Pokemon, they're very cool. And Grafaiai in Pokemon Go maxes out at 2559 CP and is a poison and normal type Pokemon. So probably with that CP, might not be the most useful thing ever. I doubt it's gonna be useful. Maybe in PvP in the Great League, we'll have to see. As for event bonuses, Team Go Rocket obviously will be appearing more often in Balloons and in the wild, and you could use, it's back, for the first time in 2025, you can use Frustration to TM, wait, you can use a TM to TM Frustration off of your Shadow Pokemon. There it is. And just very quickly, the reason why this is so important is because Shadow Pokemon are the strongest and best in the entire game when it comes to raids and even PvP, but the only way you can make them useful is by getting the move Frustration off of them, which comes standard on all Shadow Pokemon, and the only way to get Frustration off of your Shadow Pokemon is by literally waiting for an event like this to happen and then just using a TM during the event to get Frustration off. So during this event, make sure you guys favorite, star, or tag all of your good Shadow Pokemon that you need to get frustration off of and do it when this event starts. Also, kind of a little Easter egg, well, I guess it's not an Easter egg because it's announced, but snapshots, you're just taking a snapshot of a Pokemon, might give you an encounter with a costume Croagunk. So if you do want to hunt the costume Croagunk and maybe get that shiny during Fashion Week, snapshots will give you that. And then, this is pretty good, we have a brand new Shadow Legendary Pokemon coming to Pokemon Go. It is Shadow Palkia. There's a brand new special research that will be unlockable at the start of this event. So if you're like me and you probably have several Team Go Rocket Leader, researches saved up, I think you can only store 3 at a time. So you might want to use one of them. I kind of, it's been a long time since I've like done the like multiple Giovanni glitch, so I don't exactly remember how it works. But from how I remember it, you can only have like 3 Super Rocket Radars at a time, technically. So I look into that. But starting during this event, you can get Shadow Palkia as your Shadow Pokemon, or as the Shadow Pokemon coming from Giovanni. And then Palkia, by the way, as a Dragon type, it's like the 16th best Dragon type overall in Pokemon Go as a non-Shadow. And then as a Water type, it's not even ranked, it's 27th. So this might actually be like the Shadow version of Palkia might actually be really good as a Dragon type. We're gonna have to see though how it places in the rankings, and it might be good in PvP. So this might be an actually good one to use your Super Rocket Radar on. And honestly, because of Tier 5 Shadow raids, I don't want to say that like saving your Rocket Radar is useless now, because it's not, right? Because not everyone can defeat the Tier 5 Shadow raids. They're really hard to do and they're impossible if you play solo. So, you know, your Rocket Radar is, for a lot of people, the only way you're gonna get specific Shadow Legendaries. But we know that if a Pokemon comes out to Team Go Rocket Leader Giovanni, like a Shadow Legendary Pokemon, it will eventually come out to the Tier 5 Shadow raids. So even though you'll only be able to get like between 1 and 3 Shadow Palkia right now, even if you don't get it right now and you want to save your Super Rocket Radar for a different Shadow Legendary, that's fine, because Shadow Palkia will eventually come out into the Tier 5 Shadow raids, and you'll be able to catch it that way. And there's gonna be brand new Team Go Leader Shadow Shinies, so if you do not have the current ones, they're on screen right now. Those Shadow Shinies, catch them fast before they're gone, so definitely some good ones in there. And we'll have a handful of brand new Shadow Pokemon, including Shadow Tailo, Snivy, Tepig, Oshawott, Trubbish, and Bunnelby. Not sure if any of those will be super meta relevant. It's kind of a whatever batch, but new Shadow Pokemon. And then speaking of Shadow Raids, in the Shadow Raids during this event, we're gonna have in the 1-stars, Shadow Nidoran, male and female, Shadow Totodile, and Shadow Routes. All of those can be Shadow Shiny except for Totodile. Then in the 3-star Shadow Raids, we have Shadow Electabuzz, Magmar, and Wobbuffet. And then in terms of just meta relevancy overall, the 3-star Shadow Electabuzz raid might actually be worth doing if you can get one done easily. The 3-star Shadow Raids are very hard if you're only like soloing it. I like couldn't beat, what is it, Sableye. I tried to beat a Sableye like 5 times and I couldn't beat it. So maybe I suck, or they're harder, or I don't know. But either way, Shadow Electabuzz evolves to Shadow Electivire, which is the 6th best overall electric type in the game. It's really meta relevant. Also, Shadow Totodile is a beast, mainly because Shadow Feraligatr is the 8th best water type, 7th best in the Great League, and the #1 overall in the Ultra League. It is a monster. Shadow Feraligatr is a monster, so those 1-star Totodile raids might definitely be worth it, because remember, if it's a raid, you're gonna get better IVs from it. This is a great way to hunt Shadow Hundos, Shundos, and just generally getting better Pokemon in your party in Pokemon Go. Get out there, use your free raid pass on that 1-star Shadow Totodile. You'll be able to take it down. Super meta relevant. And then Shadow Routes is a good hunt too, because it evolves obviously to Shadow Gardevoir, which is the 3rd best fairy type in the entire game. So really meta relevant stuff to hunt for during the second half of Fashion Week. Definitely do not miss this event. This is gonna be a great one. And then there will be field research to complete that will give you mysterious components, charge TMs, and fast TMs, which will be very useful during the event. And that's not all. Speaking of Tier 5 Shadow Raids, on Sunday, January 19th from 2 to 5 p.m. local time, it will be Ho-Oh Shadow Raid Day. This is gonna be super great, super fun, definitely a great way to go out and get a Shundo, and Shadow Ho-Oh is pretty good. But during the event, you'll get up to 5 free raid passes from spinning gyms throughout the day for a total of 7 free raids in the day, because remember, I think we get 2 free daily raid passes right now during this season of Destiny. So 7 free raids during the day, which is great from in-person raids. But remember, this is a Shadow Raid Day, which means it's all in person, no remote raid invites. And this is where it's gonna get crazy, you have an increased chance of getting a shiny Shadow Ho-Oh from the raids during this day, which means this will be one of the best days to get a Shundo, not only because the higher IV, or the boosted shiny odds from raids, but because this is a Shadow, right? Which means you can purify it, giving 2 points on each of the IV scales. So if you get a Shadow Shiny 13, 13, 13, you can purify that to a Shundo. And during the event, you can use a charge TM on Ho-Oh to get the move Sacred Fire. So that's super great. And Shadow Ho-Oh, by the way, in the meta is currently the 11th best fire type and 11th in the Masters League as a Shadow, although the non-Shadow is 8th. So it might be worth purifying, I guess, if you do a lot of PvP stuff. But that is gonna be an insane raid day. Definitely don't wanna miss that or the rest of this event. Oh, and real quick, we just got some brand new Pokemon Go Fest 2025 news, which is huge. The dates and locations for the in-person events for Go Fest. Osaka, Japan, May 29th through June 1st. That is so great, and it's in May to June, so it might not be as hot there, which is fantastic, because Japan gets hot for these Go Fests. Then we've got Jersey City in New Jersey from June 6th to the 8th, and then Paris, France from June 13th to the 15th. This is gonna be a good 2 weeks of travel here if I decided to go to all of these. That's gonna be crazy. So that's Go Fest 2025. Get ready, hope you're excited. So I cannot wait for that. And speaking of not wanting to miss things, you do not wanna miss which Pokemon I think are coming out in 2025. I'll leave the link to that video in the description below. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.